Alright, I'm going to be assembling a wireless Air58. It's the same for Phantom, Ultralight Pro, Sunset, all those. All of them that share the same skeleton. The Ultralight 2 is a little different, but I don't have like a top shell on hand anymore, so I can't make a video specifically for it. Before it starts, there are two major cuts you have to make. Major as in, like, you'll notice them, but it's not like they don't hamper the mouse. You can just reverse it back. So I cut the plungers, and then the little supporting area right behind them. And then you'll have to cut off this rod right here. You'll see the symmetric one on the right that's still intact. That's just because the battery can't fit unless you cut that. So real quick, I'm going to show you that with the stock PCB, when you make these plunger cuts, you can't click anymore. You're bottoming out, but it's not reaching the switch. So I printed a piece that you can just put on here. I would pry the top off for putting it on. If you want to go back, you just need to put these pieces back on the plungers. Line those up, slide them into place, push them down and forward. This lighting is probably not great for it because it's black on black. If I had white filament, I would just use that, but I don't. So you can see now that we have the square sections on where they were missing before. You can slide these forward just a bit. Go ahead and push those back through the skeleton. They require just a little more force than usual, but don't force them through or anything. And then when you do, make sure they don't fall off or like come out of place. Push them back forward again, just to double check. And then you can put them back on the PCB and we can click again. So there you go. Unless you completely botch that cut, you should be fine. Might as well go ahead and do the cut now. So I would pull the top off to do this because it's much easier. I'm likely gonna edit this just for time's sake because I'm gonna do this very slowly, but I'll show you like the method that I do. I basically just take a thin razor and you're basically lining up just with that flat part. All you care about is cutting off this square, which is like 1 millimeter or something. And I'm essentially gonna saw through. So I'm gonna like pause and break back to when I've done it, but I'm just doing this motion. That's it. Just cutting that much off, a little higher. So that's all I'm doing. All right, so I didn't realize I didn't hit re-record. So this is where I was. I had just sawed off this area. Let me grab the little piece. You can see that's quite small. It's not even perfectly straight. You don't need to be 100% perfect on it. Just when you cut it, make sure you're cutting it like this and saw slowly. Don't put your thumb in the way. Not like literally in the way, but you know, for when you finish and you push through that last bit, you don't want to cut your thumb. So just go slow with it, which is why I stopped it, because, you know, I go slow with it. So pop these into place, here, click. That's good, it's in place. You can put the side buttons in while we're at it. There we go. So go to this point, lift up and move it over, push them down into place. While I was putting it together, I did manage to put too much pressure on the area where the wire meets the metal for the power, the red wire. I think the red wire and the metal area don't really have good solder because I pulled a few of these. It's just something that'll sometimes happen. You can just solder it back on. I think if you really wanted to, if you don't want to solder, I think you could probably put like aluminum foil between them and like tape it, make sure it's really tight. But that seems kind of sus to me, so I'm just gonna solder it back. But I'm just gonna continue as if it's like normal. But yeah, just don't put too much pressure on that particular area. You should be fine. So put your battery holder in place. It only goes one way. Slide this in. This is where normally, had I not messed this up, this would still be connected. We'll slot this in. It can be a little annoying to get into place. There we go. But you'll see that it fits in just like that. if yours is a bit more out or something, then it has room, push it in, because this little like pocket area designed for it will keep it in place. Otherwise it might move, and you don't want to like, be doing a flick and then have it disconnect or something. So just make sure you do it right now. Don't be like me and break it though. So next, you can use either scroll wheel. I'll assume you guys want to see the haiku, in which case you have to have this printed piece, just this little L. That's to actuate the scroll wheel button. So now just slide this into place, push down and to the right, don't push to the left when you're doing this, and just let it pop left. Make sure it scrolls. Toss that battery in. Cool. Now we'll flip it over and put that on and off switch on. This thing can fall off really easily too, so you might as well just keep the PCB upside down while you do this. So I'm gonna put it on the base plate upside down to keep the on and off switch right. So pay attention when you're putting it on, because the on and off switch will sometimes be in the way of it at the back. You can circumvent this by just wiggling left and right, or flick it to the left before you turn it over and actually push it into place, which is the on position. And then you can just remember to turn it off when you put it back and we're facing like normal. Time for the screws. There's just 4. One's under the battery, so we'll temporarily move that. And so for all the screws in this, I mean, tighten them. Don't strip them or over tighten them. Not even on like a, oh, you'll damage a thing, but just you don't need to, so don't do it. Next thing is put these little switch holders into place. Pretty self-explanatory because they only fit one way. Yeah, we'll do the switches next. Plug them in first. It'll go red, black, white, black. Make sure it plugs in the right way. You could just leave yours plugged in from the G305 too, but obviously I laid everything out. So I'm trying to grab these. This angle's a little funny. Jeez. If it helps you can obviously move the battery, but I didn't think I'd have this issue. Here we go. Same thing for the side buttons. Side buttons, it'll go like white, green, blue. That's right. Forgot, I usually do this and use my nails to push it down. And to slot them into place, just put the backmost corner in the slot in the back. You can push it down, use just a little force, you'll be fine. We gotta toss these into place. They're pretty simple to align. Here, let that focus. Basically, they can only really go one way. Here. Move the side button out of the way, I guess, first. And then do it. But yeah, they can only fit in one spot, so you shouldn't have an issue with them moving or being on a slot. Then the last thing we'll actually have to do, I forgot to clip these earlier, which is good. See these plungers, these circular plungers, they need to go. So take them and do it in a few parts. So go like that, get the top of it, and then rotate and get that. Let me see if I can focus this. So I got the top bit of the circle, and now I want this back area. So you're gonna leave the box. That's about as good as it'll get. Let's see. Pull that bit off. Same for this side. Okay, and now we should be good. Here. Got a little bit dangling from the blue. It should probably work though. So you're gonna wanna push down and forward at the front so that you get the front clips. I don't know if you can see them right there. We're aiming to line up the clips with this part going inside that slot. that clip. So push down. Oh, I didn't fasten the back enough, I guess. Here, that's funny. So earlier I didn't actually pop the back fully into place. Okay, now it's good. So push down at the front and forward. Now just screw it all into place. And we're done. Oh yeah. Okay, that's good. I've had to trim a DPI button before, just a little, like 0.5 millimeter to 1 millimeter, but I guess this one lines up. So that's it. And one thing, I guess, you should check this earlier, but obviously we're here at the end of the video. Let's make sure this actually moves. It's possible, like, it's very unlikely, but it's possible that the way the on-off switch is if at one point it's loose, it'll fall down, like in this orientation, right? It'll fall down, but it'll still be in that area. So you'll be moving it back and forth, but it won't be on the physical switch, so it won't be moving anything. But yeah, should be fine.